Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, little NBA news. Talked about the Lakers, and now I want to talk about some things that I'm hearing in regards to the Jazz and the Warriors. Essentially, I'm hearing that Danny Ainge is playing hardball. Surprise! Who expects Danny Ainge not to play hardball? Not me. It's been said that he wants 3 first-round picks or a variation of like 4 protected. If you're not going to give them 3 unprotected, then you give them 4 protected or something like that, and it adds the more protections you put on it. 5 picks if you want for Markkanen. And he wants players as well. First, they were saying Podziemski, Moody, and Kuminga, and like 2 first-rounders or 3 first-rounders. Everybody laughed that out the room naturally. So now he's coming back around saying, okay, the priority is Podziemski. You give me Podziemski and some pick equity in that fashion, and I'll part with Larry Markkanen. Now, my question is, how many years does Larry have left on his deal? What is Laurie's asking price from the Warriors? Those are the things I need to know. Is he for certain going to resign, or am I potentially paying for some sort of rental? These are things that need to be understood before making any type of deal of any kind. Because if it's going to be a rental, then I'm probably going to pull out of that deal. I understand that the timeline for Steph Curry is win today. The problem is, it's like I said about my Lakers. If it's what it's going to cost to win today is going to hurt us for the next 6 and 7, 8 years, then obviously you don't value it the same way as maybe it would take to do it in a reasonable deal, at a reasonable price rather. So for me, I'm probably going to consider moving Podziemski for Markkanen. I think overall I like Markkanen more than Podziemski. With them 3 extra picks and all of that, I have to see what the Warriors have. Do they have picks? Because for me, it's about how many I have versus how many I'm willing to give up. The Lakers only have 3 picks, so I'm stingy. I'm not giving up any picks if I can help it. But if I had like 8 or 9 of them, that's a whole other story. So that would be what would be the story there. I don't know what the picks are, so I'm not here to provide the information. I'm just telling you what it would rely upon in regards to me being willing to relinquish that much. Larry Markkanen may be worth that. He may. I have had some issues with his health over the years. He had that big elbow injury that really kept him out for a long time with Chicago. A couple other injuries that's kept him out here and there. I do believe he can be an all-star player. I do believe that 7 feet, being a fluent, small forward, power forward player, he can play multiple positions and really help you on both sides of the floor. He's an underrated defensive piece, I think. With the length that he has, he can block shots, he can rebound, definitely stretch the floor. So, in a nutshell, I value him more than Podziemski. If I'm the Warriors, I think. Although you found Podziemski out of nothing, I think that's the point. You got him with one of the late picks in the draft. He probably shouldn't have been on the board as long as he was, but people like the Lakers passed on all this good stuff. So you were able to land him with your 22nd pick or whatever that was last year, 23rd, something like that. And turning that into a valuable piece for your franchise going forward like Markkanen is good value. But Danny Ainge, he's in the business of trying to stack the deck. He built the Celtics from the ground up, and his ambition is what's driving this situation. And so for me, I'm not going to play his game necessarily. I'm not playing this game. He's going to have to tell me what else he's on the table for Markkanen. You got to show me what the Laker deal is. You have to show me what the Thunder are doing. I need to know I'm not bidding against myself in a Markkanen deal. I don't believe they are. Don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you the market's not great for Markkanen, but I need to know that he actually has something on the table before I pull the trigger on any of the stuff that he's asking for. For the Warriors, I think that the urgency to bring in a piece like Markkanen is pretty serious. And I do think he's young enough to where you don't mind moving on from young pieces to get him. I don't think he's 30 yet. I'm pretty certain he's only like 27, something like that, 26 years old. So it's not like he can't be a part of both a win now timeline and potentially spearhead your retooling around Steph Curry. And if you're able to keep Kuminga, if you're able to keep Moody, maybe you got some stuff on tab that allow for you to move forward in a confident space. So that's what it's about for the Golden State Warriors. They want to keep up with everybody else. They got to keep Steph Curry happy. Getting Markkanen can go a long way in doing that. I don't particularly think Steph Curry would mind moving on from Podziemski if it means bringing in Markkanen, but I don't know that he's going to feel great about you moving on from picks. Well, he may, but your franchise may not. His timeline may be set for you to do something like that, but is Markkanen a great enough piece for you to where you're giving up that much equity? And for the Warriors, it may actually be, to be honest with you, if I'm being real with you, it may actually be, when you consider their DNA is a team that shoots a lot of three-point shots. And Markkanen is obviously one of the better three-point shooters in this league. So for me, yeah, I'm probably valuing Markkanen in such a way to where it puts me in a strong position to probably have to give up more than maybe I would be willing to in most situations. But make no mistake about it, you are going to give up a lot to get Markkanen because there are other teams that really would want him bad. Maybe not as bad as the Warriors do, but I can think of many teams that would be very good for bringing Markkanen in. I personally think Detroit should get in on the action. I really think Detroit should get in on the action. They should definitely want to bring in a piece like Markkanen. Probably as bad as the Golden State Warriors do when you consider how much they just gave to Cade Cunningham and how many other pieces that they have that are young don't actually fit their team that they can move on from and feel good about, especially if they're bringing in somebody like Markkanen. And when you consider the fact that because those guys are so young, you may not have to give up as much pick equity in theory to get them as maybe a Golden State or an LA does, because some of those young players can be considered that. A Duran can be considered that. Ivy potentially considered that. You know, Sasser could be some, you know, you could probably get him if you're Detroit. So for me, it's like, I don't know if Detroit's thinking that way. They obviously just paid Tobias Harris some ridiculous amount, so they're probably not thinking that way. But I think Markkanen fits in Detroit about as well as he fits anywhere in the league. And if I'm Golden State, you know, I probably have to pay top dollar to keep teams like Detroit from being the team that lands him. So that's really what it is, man. Ultimately, I do think Golden State probably should pull the trigger on a Markkanen deal. I don't believe you give up all of your young players and all of your picks, but you're probably going to move on from Podziemski and maybe like 3 picks to get him. You probably are. For what you got on tab. And mind you, they're not just thinking about the timeline of Steph Curry, but they also got Draymond Green's contract that needs to be considered as well, which I just think is only going to be valuable if it's in a winning situation with the Golden State Warriors. You move that thing anywhere else and it's trash. Straight up, his contract is garbage anywhere else in the league. So for me, because I know I can't move him, and because I know I desperately don't want to move Steph Curry, I'm probably not going to do anything that has it so that I'm only holding on to my young players, because I'm not moving on from my old guys anytime soon. That's really what it comes down to. By the time it's time to pay Podziemski, pay Kuminga, pay Moody, you're probably still going to be on tab with Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And not going to be anywhere closer to a championship. You can shave some of that off and then bring in Markkanen and have it make a lot more sense. So yeah, for me, if I'm Golden State, I'm probably gonna bite the bullet and pay the high price upon being shown what else is on the table for Markkanen and understanding I'm not bidding against myself. Easy for me to say because I'm not a Warriors fan and I don't have any care for their young players at all. I mean, I like those guys, but it's not like an emotional attachment to where I'm like, we can't move Kuminga, like I'm listening to most Golden State Warriors fans saying. We can't move Kuminga, no way. I'm like, man, move Kuminga ass for Markkanen quick. If he can keep one of them picks off of that deal, man, I'm moving him quick. Because for me, it's like, I like Kuminga, but do I see him having the fit and upside that Markkanen can give me from here? Is he going to keep Steph Curry around? The answer is absolutely not. I'm going to be honest with you. I like Kuminga. I like him in a lot of situations. Not ever did I think he was good for the Golden State Warriors. At no point in time did I say, yeah, that's a Warrior. No. He never fit in your organization. Markkanen fits in your organization because he's a three-point shooter and you guys are splash place. It's a splash team. So for me, it's like if I'm choosing between Markkanen or Kuminga, man, Markkanen is the guy. And if he's going to hold up the trade, then y'all ain't doing it right, in my humble opinion. I don't think Kuminga has the upside that Golden State fans think he does. I think he's a hell of a scorer. I think his ball handling ability at his size can be fantastic. Defensively, there's some upside, I believe. So he can be a star. But like if he's gonna keep me from getting the perfect piece, and that piece potentially keeps Steph Curry in place, man, get the hell out of here, Kuminga. I'm not keeping you to that degree. That's not that serious. But I think it is for Golden State Warrior fans, and so that's kind of how they're looking at it. This is our future. So could Markkanen be your future? Like, I just think they overvalue that dude a lot. Moody's a nice piece, but I don't think he moves the needle. You're going to have to move a Markkanen. You're going to have to move Kuminga. You have to move Podziemski. But I don't know, man. If I'm a Warrior fan, I'm really, really trying to get out of my feelings about how much I love the players I've drafted. Because at the end of the day, better is simply better, fam. Literally. And while we do value guys having their being drafted in certain situations and having bird rights and things like that in the current CBAs, it means everything. So does, too, having the best fit for your team. And Kuminga, he ain't the best fit for your team. If you're trying to win right now, he's still developing. And rather slowly for what it is you need him to be. And then with Draymond Green in place, here's another thing. A lot of what I'm looking at in regards to Kuminga is based on the fact that you always have another power forward in place that he has to play behind, waiting for Draymond to go down so he can get the minutes he needs. Because you can play Markkanen at the 3 so fluidly, you don't have that problem with Markkanen. You can play him at the floor, you can play him with Draymond and Steph. He's an upgrade from Clay. He's gonna fit real nicely next to Buddy. Y'all gonna blow people out. If y'all make that trade in the short term, you're gonna be very happy. In the long term, giving up picks, depending on how many you have, could potentially be a headache. But you know, I'm gonna say something and I mean it. Not many teams can just automatically think that they're gonna attract the next superstar. I don't think Golden State is the place that everybody's trying to clamor to get to. The taxes are too damn high in California. LA has 2 teams. You see what I'm saying? And everywhere else is not hard in terms of taxes. San Francisco is cool. My mom's from San Francisco. I'm not a huge fan of the city, but I know some people are, so it's not like it's a place that people are trying to stay away from. But to just assume that they're going to be able to usher in the next talent because of the era that they just exited, I think that's a naive thought, man. I don't think it's going to be as easy for them to attract talent as maybe a lot of Golden State Warriors believe they are able to. I don't think so. So does that mean you hold on to your picks, move on from your picks? Not sure. But I do think that whatever's going to give you the best possible future should really be valued with the assumption that we may not be able to get nobody like that again. We may not be able to get Steph again. You know what I mean? Unlike a Laker team, who I think, as long as we keep the place clean and the books clean, we will be able to usher people in, despite our organization believing otherwise. With Golden State, I don't think y'all have. I mean, you may get somebody, but I don't think it's a shoe-in for you to get the next Luka Doncic or Wembanyama or something. I don't think those guys are going to be knocking on your door like that. I really don't. So y'all better seize this Steph Curry era in a real way. That's basically what I think it comes down to. You better seize Steph Curry in a real way. You better win with him now or forever hold your peace, because I don't think it's going to be too much winning if he exits. You know, just the same, maybe you think you should hold on your picks because of that. Like I said, I don't know what it looks like, but y'all better have that in mind with your next move. I tell you that. So that's really my take on the Golden State Warriors. I'm not a fan of their team. I don't hate them like a lot of Laker fans may, but I'm not rooting for them. You know, I'm really not. Neutral, maybe neutral, I guess, as far as my personal opinion. But they irritate me in a way because of, just like a lot of teams, even my own team, they overvalue their own guys. They think these people are worth more than they are in the market, or they think that the world thinks of them like they think of them. And my team has that issue too. We do that with Austin Reeves. Most definitely do that with Austin Reeves. So, you know, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I believe I'm part of that. I don't want to get rid of Austin Reeves, but I think it just is what it is. You trust that your organization can move around the margins and get things done just without moving off from your homegrown talent. And the market a lot of times thinks otherwise. So you end up being in a situation where you can't make moves because of your unwillingness to move on from those particular guys. People know you value those guys that much, so they want you to part with them. You, in some ways, play up their value by wanting them as bad as you do. So people make you won't give up them in order to get good things done. So it can have a reverse effect when you really consider what it looks like when people think something's worth more than it is. They know it's worth a lot to you, and they want you to come down on the price because of that understanding. And so that's kind of what it is. At the end of the day, I think Markkanen will be much more valuable to them if he's healthy. Now, if he has some of those health issues that he's had, they're going to regret moving on from Kuminga, Podziemski, and Picks. Don't get it twisted. There's a world where they probably want to hold on to Kuminga instead. I'm not leaving that variable out. But I think for the identity of the team and who they believe themselves to be as a shooting club, Markkanen is so much better for them than what they have in place right now. Just is. So it's going to cost to get him. I don't think they'll be able to. I've been on record saying I don't think they could pull it off. But it seems like Danny Ainge is willing to work with them. He's willing to work with you. So if he's willing to work with you, then it's up to you to pull up the price tag. My thought was they just get outbid it. But if he's engaging with them, then you got a chance, Mike Dunleavy. So I think that deserves some conversation. And I think you have to pay something good to get something good. It's that simple. So Podziemski ain't holding this trade up. Kuminga ain't holding this trade up for me. But I'm not giving you both of them if it means I still got to give you the same amount of pick equity. That's not happening. I'm definitely not giving you all three of Moody, Kuminga, and Podziemski for pick equity. That's laughable. But if they're willing to take just Podziemski and pick equity, I do it. If they're willing to take just Kuminga and Moody and maybe like 2 picks, I do it. If it's Podziemski and Kuminga, I value Podziemski a little more than what that probably would be, personally, because I think he fits. Obviously, he's a shooter and a rebounder at the guard spot, who will likely fill in very nicely for Klay Thompson in his absence. Probably somebody that you think will have a much more upside than Buddy Hield, of whom I'm not really high on, to be honest with you. But I think he'll be really good with the Golden State Warriors. So when you look at the team, you say Podziemski probably fits the best of all the shooting guards you got. You would like to move on from Wiggins, but it doesn't look realistic. His value is not where you want it to be. Try to really get anything for him. Some of the other guys that they've brought in, role players, not really filling in the shooting guard spot, but they are a little deep at the shooting guard spot. So maybe moving on from Podziemski and bringing in a 3/4 isn't the worst thing in the world when you consider so much depth they already have at shooting guard. You're not going to get the most out of all these shooting guards you got. You're really not. So that's something to consider as well. But ultimately, I think Podziemski should be kept out of this trade if at all possible, and then try to get this thing done with Moody, Kuminga, and picks. Maybe I'm willing to do that. But Podziemski and Kuminga and picks is I just value Podziemski a little too much for that, to do that particular deal. Pick equity would be coming off. A lot of pick equity would be coming off. I'm going to say that Podziemski's worth a pick and a half to me. So take that for what it's worth. To the Golden State Warriors, if I'm the Warriors specifically, and the fit that they have with the team. So it's a lot of things to consider, man. I'm not overly high on Markkanen's ability to stay healthy. That would be the holdup of the trade for me. I don't want to give up so much stuff only for me to get him back, and then he has one of them injuries that he's prone to have. And then I'm out of him. Timeline's still screwed because he can't help me win right now. Probably should have held on to the stuff I had. But anybody can get hurt. I could bring myself the best player in the world, he can get hurt. So if we're considering his history and the likelihood that he may get hurt again, and maybe decent, but also the likelihood that he plays at an all-star level in your system is also very decent. So Can he help you keep Steph Curry is the question. And I think the answer is yes. I think if you make that move, you show Steph Curry that you're still trying to make moves to win. Holding and standing pat, the kids and all that, I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's really what it comes down to, man. If they only want Podziemski and picks, I think I make that move. I think I do that. Depending on how many picks they have. If they only have 3 picks, then I'm not doing that. But if they have a nice, healthy 7-pick type of situation going on for themselves, then yeah, you can move on to 3 of them to get Markkanen. That makes sense. Probably ain't the worst thing in the world. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, man. You just got to make sense for yourself. If you're a team that really wants to get better in the short term, it's going to take some long-term stuff. You got to take a long-term hit to get better, man. It's just the nature of the market with all these aprons and stuff like that. People aren't really able to make moves unless it absolutely benefits them. And a guy like Danny Ainge, he ain't going to do nothing unless it benefits him regardless. I mean, he set the standard really high for negotiating with him upon making that Rudy Gobert trade. Thank you, brother. And ultimately put him in a position to really look like somebody you got to pay a lot in order to do something with. For me, Danny Ainge is somebody I tread lightly around. I always double question what he's willing to part ways with and why. In this situation, it's pretty clear he's not going to play Markkanen. They're in a rebuilding situation. So it's not too much to worry about. But some of the other stuff, as we've talked about on this channel, why are you willing to give Kessler up for 1 pick? At one point, it looked like that was the price tag. He raised the price tag on that. But it was always a catch. There's always something with him. And so I'm just not moving like that around him unless it's a surefire certainty I'm going to be pleased with the deal. Because I feel like a guy like that is always looking to fleece me, man. Always. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that situation. I think the Golden State Warriors are going to be all right if they make this move. So long as it makes sense for what it is that they have. Video 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.